there.
I saw that. I only somehow saw it today, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome! So good, thank you." So I sent it to my social media person. So hopefully she will be putting it up. It's going to be a little late, but hopefully she'll at least put it up anyway, right before it's there.
That's perfect.
Cool. Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I like it.
I love the hackathon graphic.
Well, Vicente was the creator of the layout in general of the brand of the hackathon.
Yeah.
Vicente was the one that designed it, and Trini is there. She's now getting her degree on publicity and communications, and she was the designer of all the pieces that you can, marketing pieces that you can.
They look awesome. They look really good, guys. Good job. They look really good.
Nice team behind the scenes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Let's wait 5 minutes, Matthew, but we will be here in the channel. Just we can wait 5 minutes and start officially.
And then I'll start. And so
you can
formally.
You can sing if you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the background. Good idea.
No. Please, Matthew.
Yeah,
sing again.
Okay.
A little bit.
Because usually we leave some music behind with a Spotify, but having you here, it won't be good at all.
I have to remember. I only practice one song, so hold on. Let me I get nervous. I'm musician these days. So
nervous,
much.
You? No.
I'll play this. One, two, three, four. I'm knocking on your door. I heard you call, singing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. You turn to me, smile out and say, I got close my face, singing, whoa, yeah, and we're singing, whoa,
sí.
Yeah. We could go straight as an arrow, but here we are, side by side on the wall. Yeah.
I was muted. Yay!
Amazing. Congratulations.
With performance included.
Yeah. Do you want me to?
Okay.
I'll do a cover because I don't know. I don't like doing all my own songs. I honestly don't play my songs very much, so it makes me nervous. Very, very, very nervous. So I'm.
Why?
But doesn't matter. Play your song.
It's just how I am. It's just me, you know. It's easier because I'm in my house, so it feels easier. Okay. its blemishes. So take them, set them free. Oh, feel them breathe, feel them breathe. World feels more stable when I'm shaking at the knees. So, baby, please, baby, please, oh, take me home, oh, take me home, oh, take me home. Corner after corner, you can't see the way, but when you know you'll get there, you just feel good and sway. Some days are good, but the nights are always better. Darkness shines light as light reveals night. So take me home, oh, take me home, oh, take me home. It's so beautiful just being here. Whoever said what you wanted, what you need, I got what I need. You got what we need. We have what we need. So take me home, oh, take me home, oh, take me home.
Wow. My goodness. Oh, that was amazing.
That's my favorite song to sing. Well, my wife wrote some of the lyrics, but she wasn't my wife then, and basically we were out on like together as friends, and some of the things that in the song are what she just said to me that day, you know. And so I put it, when I got home later, I put it into a song, and so I love singing that one because it's like reminds me of those really fun times with my wife. That, and then I sang it for, more recently I sang it for a friend, and he was he's from Latvia, and he was going home, and he was like, don't make me cry, that's crazy, stop it, because he was going home for the first time in a few years. So it was very interesting to have him. So I recorded it and I gave it to him. So good memories for that song for me. I really like it.
Mathew, thank you for this amazing gift. For us was incredible. Thank you. Thank you. Super relevant for us. Thank you for share that, knowing that also for you it's hard to share this.
It is. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for putting up with my nervousness.
But so I believe with this formally, officially, we can introduce you. Sure. So Mathew is our next speaker. Actually, is the last speaker of the hackathon, because then, Mathew, we have a workshop at 12 where the participants will be practicing and getting some advice and recommendations on how to do their pitch. And then at 3:30 p.m. we start the presentation, the pitch to the judges. So in the morning we had you and Andres, the previous speaker, and that's all in terms of talks during the event. But with you, it's amazing, Mathew. Thank you for sharing this performance and your songs. So I want to introduce you just a little bit, and we have your bio here, but just for the students and the participants from Coaniquem that are here on the talk, we know that they are internally working on their teams, preparing the pitch, working on their final solution. So they are there, and most of them they have our channel active so they can hear and participate, listen the talks and the speakers that we are inviting. But for the people that is there and the ones that were able to join us today on our Zoom, Mathew is from Canada. He's the makerspace lead at the Algonquin College office, and I will ask you so that then you can tell us more about what is Algonquin College and what you do there. Of course, the idea, we asked Mathew to tell us more about his motivation to be a maker and his story about being a maker, but also please about your journey. That for us will be the most valuable thing, but also we want to know more about your work at Algonquin College. And also, as you were able to see, Mathew is a musician, but you are also a cabinet maker. That was interesting to know. And a designer. You have studies on design. That's correct?
Yep. Studied design and cabinet making, both at Algonquin College, and now I work there. So I've spent my half of my life at Algonquin College in one shape or form.
Great. And well, we want to know actually your journey. You were before the talk, you were sharing with us about the decisions you had to do to be on this where you are right now, and also to follow your passion, to follow what you really want to do on your life, and to put all your skills there. So yes, now we are here to know more about you and your work and your passion.
Great. So really quickly, I guess I will introduce just Algonquin College itself. It's a college in Ottawa, Canada, which is the capital of Canada. And it's about hands-on. It's a lot of things when you're doing studying at Algonquin College, you're actually doing and taking the work and physically doing it. It's a mix of your studies on paper, of your studies of understanding how things work, but also we believe that by doing those things and having hands-on experiences with the technologies, with all of the things that you are learning about, it increases the impact of the learning. And it can, you don't swim. One of my favorite quotes is, you don't learn to swim in the library. You only learn to swim once you get into the ocean. So, you can read all the books on swimming that you want, but you won't get it until you are there. So we like to have people experience the things that they're doing. And so for me, I studied cabinet making, and I'll show you an example of something I've made that I'm very proud of. And then I also studied interactive media design, and I'll go into what that is. But in general, it is coding mixed with videography, mixed with graphic design. So those are just two of the programs that are available at the college. We do all kinds of different things. But I will share my screen with you, and I'm going to play one more because it was part of the presentation. So just a little snippet, but it's going to be a little different because you're not going to see me. You're going to see something that I've created using a program called Touch Designer. And what it allows is it's audio reactive. So it's a sphere in 3 dimensions that once you add the audio to it, it picks it up and it moves the sphere in different ways. So much like we can be moved by music, so can the computer, apparently. It's kind of an interesting thought that I like. So let me share my screen very quickly, or hopefully very quickly. And I think you guys can see that now, that when I speak, you see this go over. And it's a very small program, and all of this is drag and drop. So if you're ever interested, I didn't have to actually code anything. It's very interesting to know that you can create it all just with this software. I'm not an affiliate of the software. I just like it. But it was made in Toronto, Canada, the head office. So very interesting to know. And so here, I'll play just a little bit of a song, and you guys can watch it as the computer is moved by my music, I guess. you up for a day. You said sure, but where to go or what to do? You're not that sure what you want, what you want, what you want. Oh, you're not so sure what you want, what you want. No, you're not that sure. You show up at the Hillview, and it's the best damn view I've seen before. I've seen before. But you're still not sure what you want, what you want, what you want. Oh, you're not quite sure, so baby, make up your mind. There. So I think it's hypnotizing to watch this random shape move to, and when I edit and change parameters in terms of math that's within the system, it actually changes how it is affected. So it was some playing around to get something that moves sort of effectively to have the feeling be stretched or moved with your voice. And I noticed that also yesterday when I was messing around, a voice is a little bit more jarring. So you see a percussive sound is really quick, but when I'm singing, it kind of like stretches and breathes and moves. And I really like that idea. And it's only through sort of observation that I noticed that this was happening by practicing for this. So that was interesting. And I never combined these two before. I was trying to think of what to show you guys and how to show you guys lots of things at once. And that was, it sort of came to me as an interesting idea. So I'm going to stop sharing that. And I have a presentation about my journey through to becoming from a musician as a child and a cabinet maker, and then finding myself as the lead of the makerspace. So my dream job, which I never thought I would have. So I am super grateful to everyone in my life who's given me that opportunity, and as well as the universe in a certain way, with all of the things that happen to lead me here. So let me just change my screen over and I will show you guys my presentation. All right, so hopefully I can get a thumbs up that my presentation is on the screen. Yeah, it's there. Okay, great. So it's making it happen, a discovery and inspiration and motivation for myself. And I hope to speak to the rest of the group of students who are out there listening, who are working on their things right now, and maybe hit a few things home about what it is that I wish maybe I had done more of when I was, and the things that I know I did right and that I hope that, you know, others can do, or that I believe I did right. Sorry, I won't even say that I know I did them right. I just believe that I did them and that they helped me along the way. So we've gone over it a little bit, but who am I? I lead the AC Makerspace. So at Algonquin College, we call it AC. That's our abbreviation. I like to make music very much. I have a passion for design. I practice woodworking, and I am a dreamer. I love to dream. Both when I sleep and when I'm awake, to be honest. So every day, everybody starts somewhere. I started making, I can't even remember some of the first things. My parents told me some of the first things I made because I can't remember doing it. But what I can remember making was I moved into a new house, and in that house, in the basement, the people from previously had left some pieces of wood just, you know, lying about. And I went, I don't have all the things I need for my bedroom. It's bigger than it was before. So I found a circle top and I found 3 legs, and I just had nails, and I was 9, and I said, hey, I built a table for my room because I think I needed it. So I was recreating something, and I was using it. I did it because I needed something, and it was not just to create, it was because of utility. And this is the side table idea, and the idea of recreation. It is something I saw before. I wasn't inventing a new thing. A table already existed. But as I got older, I started really getting into the idea of creating things that weren't there that were only in my mind, and then bringing them out and making them something that existed that I could touch or that I could share. I love it when I can share with others. So again, thank you guys for this opportunity. An example of that is that a shaker drumstick. So I'm a drummer as well. I play drums. Actually, that's my first instrument. I've played the drums since I was 10. And I had a song that I heard, and in the recording, there was a shaker and there was the drum beat. And I wanted to do both at the same time because I wanted to recreate the sound that I was hearing. And so what I did is I found 2 tops of bottle caps, and I found something of a spool of thread. I put rice inside and I slid it onto my drumstick, and I said, look, now I can shake my drumstick and I can hit the drums. I'll get into it later, but always take pictures of the work that you do and always save what you do, because right now I don't have a picture of either of those things to show you guys. I have to describe it. And I wish that I did have that documentation, and we'll get there later. So making, though, it started out for me as something that you could touch, that you could feel tangible. And this is an example of something I made at Algonquin, actually. It's a Scotch cabinet. So it holds my dad's Scotch collection. It's one of the favorite things I've made, because when I go there, when I go to his house, he invites me to have some free Scotch from the cabinet, because I built him this cabinet for free. So my inspiration for it, just very quickly, was the branches of trees. So the structure that you see going through is inlaid from walnut onto the birch panel. And I hand drew it and then transferred it into the wood. So I'm not an artist by hand, but I basically thought the structure of the wood cell itself translated into the branches, and I wanted that to exist on my furniture as well. I wanted it to be a part of the piece, to see the trees in the wood, let's say it that way. And nothing I do ever comes with just, I'm going to do it because. I usually try to think of why and how and what I'm trying to express. And I think that comes from song making. So this is me working on a song. My wife took a photo of me, and I, love this photo. It's great. And it led me basically to understand more when I wrote songs that they just had as much validity as things that were tangible. So a lot of times in making, we think a lot about making physical goods. And I'm glad the students today are making probably physical options, but maybe also they're making an application. Maybe they're using code. There's 2 ways of doing things. And in the beginning of the maker movement, when I first got involved, it was very much a lot about what were you making that was physical? What was the physical object that you were making? And now I think we're on a good path to being able to just, if it's something that you make that you can share, doesn't matter if you can feel, touch it, if you can interact with it and you can storytell, that's just as important. So in all of the things that I've made here, it came from a certain process. And for me, my process looks like what's on the screen. So I observe the world around me. I see what's necessary. And in the table, I saw that I needed a table. And then I found some pieces of wood. And I learned a little bit about that I needed to attach those pieces of wood. So I used nails, which is the wrong thing. Let's use that table, for example, and my 9-year-old self. And so I made the thing and it kind of worked, but guess what? The nails weren't the right way to do it, and I didn't attach them the right way. So I had to learn more. And then I share what I've learned with others, and then I go back and I observe again. So it's observe, learn, make, learn, share, a lot of learning, and that's very important. You always have to learn from what you're doing, or else I don't think there's as much of a point. So in 2008, this is the start of my journey. Really, I started making things, but my starting journey as a maker was through Make magazine. I discovered that I already was a maker. I just didn't know what to call it. And I didn't know there was other people that wanted to explore the world the same way that I did. So it was absolutely inspiring and eye-opening to find out there were like-minded individuals, and that there was a vocabulary for how I did this observing and experimenting and trying. And it just really got me very, very excited about the concept. And I was really looking forward to then getting into a makerspace and talking to these other people, because I was reading about them. They were in the magazine, but I hadn't met one in person. I hadn't been able to engage with them really. But I wasn't there yet. I didn't have a makerspace to go to. there wasn't one in my area and I didn't know anybody else really. So one day, interesting enough, luck is, I said to somebody that I was going to see who was speaking. They were the speaker this time. And I said, you know, I've been very lucky in my life to, you know, end up where I am right now. And they said, no, you made your own luck. You make your own luck. So take that. Anyone who's listening, please make your own luck. And the way that you do that, it's a very old concept from Roman philosopher Seneca, but it's preparation plus opportunity equals luck. If you're preparing and continually prepared, you're putting it in your mind that you're waiting for an opportunity and you're ready for it, usually I find it shows up. So do that and you'll see. Please, and then tell me if it works for you, because I would love to hear about those kinds of stories. So I studied woodworking. I said, okay, well, I can't find a makerspace, but a makerspace can also be a woodworking shop. And there are people in there doing that. And because my time as a musician, I had an affinity for wood. I really liked wood because the drums that I was playing and the guitars and all of those things, they're made from wood. So, and I made this table when I was younger, and so why don't I try? I was currently a furniture salesman, so I was just selling furniture at that time. And I thought I could make it and then I could sell it. Why not? I already know the second half of the business process. And then I read books. I went to the library every week and I took out as many books as I possibly could on the maker movement. There weren't that many at the time, but the concept was that if I can read all the books, it's a new thing. So not many people are going to know a lot about it. So I can become like an expert. I can know as much as there is to know and grow with the concept itself. So I read every book, and one of my favorites that I read right at the beginning that was like, I couldn't stop turning the pages. It was like my mind was on fire when I read this book, was The Maker Movement Manifesto by Mark Hatch, and CEO of the Tech Shop. And I dreamed of going to a tech shop. Oh my goodness, if I could have been in a tech shop, they had everything. You could make whatever you wanted in one of those spaces. So one day though, because I went to the library every week, I came out of the library and I was walking to return the books from that week that I had read, and I saw a sign on the door. It was like, oh my goodness, what is happening? That's amazing. There's a makerspace and it's going to be right here in the library that I've been going to for the past weeks, reading about makerspaces, hoping to find one, and they're going to build one right here. It's like across the street from my house. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I was so happy. I was looking in the window like this, and I was like, when is it coming? I like grabbed the person next to me. When is it going to be here? Is it here now? When is it going to be here? I was so excited. I was so excited. It was amazing. I started asking around and they're like, we have to build it. It's being funded by the US Embassy. So Obama, of all people, had decided that he was going to fund makerspaces across North America. We don't typically have rooms in libraries in rural Ottawa funded by the US administration. It is not a normal thing to just have that happen. So it was very, very, very weird. And I'm very thankful to Obama for having taken on the maker movement and seeing the value in it, because it made a makerspace. And this is the inside of the first makerspace that I went into. And there's the laser cutter there. The laser cutter is funny. I didn't know that I wanted a laser cutter until I found the laser cutter. And then I really, really wanted a laser cutter because I could do so many things with the knowledge that I already had. So it was very, very cool to see that. But the most important thing about this luck that I found myself in, because I consider it still, like I still say I was super lucky to find myself in that position. I was prepared for it though, because I had learned 3D design through woodworking. So within the Algonquin College, they taught us how to design things in 3D through my woodworking studies. And I didn't even really know that was going to be a thing. So that was really serendipitous. They were very great and excellent that it worked out that way. And then I had studied the basics of 3D printing through articles and books. So even though you can't learn to swim in the library, I knew what software to use. I knew sort of the basics. And I had now had the access. So I did the thing because that was the most important part. If I would have just went to the makerspace and said, I'm here now, I can't believe it. I made stuff. And that is what everyone has to do. So I'm glad you are all here at a hackathon right now, making things, because you have to take action. You have to do these things. It's not enough to just consider them. And it took me a long time also, I'm going to be very honest with you, to not just write down ideas and not just have ideas, but to action my ideas. It's an interesting concept. So here's every story has its down slope, right? Every story has the part where it wasn't that awesome. And for me, that down slope was actually after I graduated from woodworking at Algonquin College. I did not love what I did. I was not happy. I was losing my passion for this act of making, and I didn't know why, but I didn't like going to work every day, and I didn't want to do it, but I had to. I had, my wife, and I had an apartment to pay for and all of these things. And I went, I'm feeling very emotional, and I just don't like what I do. But it took me 2 years to tell somebody that I didn't like to tell my wife, really, that I didn't like what I was doing. Don't take 2 years. If you know inside that you don't like something and that you don't want to do it, please be honest with yourself, be honest with the people around you, because you will waste your time. You're wasting every day that you get up not liking what you do and not loving what you do. So make sure that you listen to your heart, listen to what you know. But I wouldn't know so strongly what I know now, which is that I need to be able to be creative in my job. If I'm not creative, I will not like it. I was still putting things together. I was still making things. I was hammering and screwing and making awesome stuff. Giant walls inside of apartment buildings that were just amazing pieces of art. But I wasn't the one who had thought of the pieces of art. It's, maybe that's a failing of mine, but I think it's excellent to be able to want to build the things that you envision. So I followed that, and I decided to go back to Algonquin College. I started studying again because I loved the school and I loved being there in that environment. So it's never too late. You should always do what you know, what you're feeling, and trust those instincts. So I studied interactive media design, and I said that's learning to make things digitally out of code. I learned photography, which I'm so passionate about and I love. And videography, so making videos. And there is a very big reason to know that. And again, I'll get a little bit to that later, because when you make something, when you know how to add photography and document it, then you're in a whole new world, because now you can share it even greater and you can create a better story out of it. And then the code aspect, well, that you can see that there's interesting things, programs and software. And I assume some of you are coders if you're making applications for this hackathon. So you know the value of being able to code. But the greatest thing that I didn't know I needed was the undo button. In the cabinet shop, there was no undo button. I did something and then it was there. I can get a new piece of wood and I can cut it again, but I cut it too short. I can't hit undo and it gets longer again. I couldn't experiment to the level that I wanted to experiment at. So there was this freedom in, I can just try anything now, and then I can just hit back and I'm back to the spot where I was. Yes, there are some, I'm oversimplifying, because there are times when you can't undo in code and things like that. But for the to the largest extent, you can. And it was amazing for me to discover that that was needed for me to really be happy. And so I got there, and then out of that, I was loving what I was doing at Algonquin, learning a bunch of different things. And I decided I would apply for a job in the research office while I was still studying. And because I knew how to do web design, they said, yeah, we need somebody to do like all the things. We need somebody to shoot photos. We need somebody to do graphic design. We need somebody to write the copy. We need somebody to do all of it and plan the events and do everything. And I was like, okay, I can do most of that and I can learn the other stuff. No problem. Don't, and then the reason I was told later, the reason I got the job was because somebody asked, they asked me, okay, on the spot, we have a large event. We want to do something different to market it. What would you do? I said, you know what? I would laser cut hundreds of puzzle pieces that all fit together. So every puzzle piece, they all fit right side by side. And then I would have people sign them, and I would hide them around the college, and they would say Algonquin College on it. I would say, bring this piece and connect with others. And they're like, oh, that's a cool idea. So literally the reason was because I knew how to use a laser cutter, and I presented the idea behind this laser cutter to them. And they were like, how would you even make the puzzle pieces? And how would you do this? And I was like, don't worry about that. I know how to do that. You guys have a laser cutter in the CRC, in the Construction Research Center. They went, we do? the people I was talking to didn't even know that they had a laser cutter there. So it was really, really interesting. But this is one of the first pieces of graphic design that I made as my first part of the job. And it was to go around and visit different stations. So the card, I can use my mouse, the card along the bottom, we 3D printed the logo of our AC, and then you would stamp on the card when you onto it when you visited every station, and on the back was the map and where to go. And so it was an open house, so it invited people to go search for applied research all across the college and in different spaces. And everyone thought, wow, that's so different and that's so interesting. And only because I was a maker and I had learned all of these different things could I sort of impress the office, I guess, or show them the value of even the things that are in their office they can use as marketing tools. And that was pretty cool to do. And my director, I guess, liked me, so she continued to have me on as I went and continued my studies, and she wanted me to keep doing it, and she kept giving me more opportunities to do other things and see what I could do. But one day, the biggest part of this and how I ended up in the makerspace is that I didn't hesitate, because one day I heard a conversation. I'm in my cubicle, I'm working, making maybe this graphic design piece, and all of a sudden I hear, yeah, you know the new building that we're planning that's going to be on campus over there? Yeah, they're asking me about a makerspace. And I'm like, I know like what equipment it could need, but like, do you expect me to run this? Like, what is the plan for this space? What's going to happen there? And the tone was very much like that. Like, I already have a job. I don't know what you're going to do with this makerspace. So the minute that person walked away, I was like, excuse me, Christina, I would like to speak with you for 1 second if you have a moment, because you should be very kind to your director because they're the big boss, right? And I said, I have been studying makerspaces. I've read as many books as I could possibly find. I can do this. I will do this. I will define what a makerspace is to you, and I will change the definition of a makerspace. I just went off. I just told her everything, and I guess she could see how much I cared and that I knew what I was doing with some of the tools. Because, apologies guys, I'm getting a package apparently, but then I knew what to do with all of the tools. And so then a week later or so, I found myself in a meeting with the director and a bunch of others saying, what are we going to do to build this space? And so this is a picture of me here in the building, the new building, just outside. Well, it's the makerspace is right below, but this is the picture I'm in. So I took it, but this is me in the new building as we're planning for the makerspace, and we're going to see. I've started building one from the ground up. So I went from, preparing and trying to find a makerspace to then trying to build my own makerspace, which is incredible. And I am so fortunate. I realize how fortunate I am to have this opportunity and to do it. So now though, you fast forward 2 years, the makerspace has been open in that building that is brand new for 2 years now. And I do things that I never ever thought would be possible. The things that I make now, I don't even say I make them, I say we make them, because I don't work by myself anymore. It took me way too long to figure out. You guys are all working in groups? Amazing. Always, always, always. There is an equation for how successful one can be, and it's the ability to execute on an idea. And if you engage with others, your ability to execute on that idea, given you work well with those people, is like exponential. It's amazing what can happen, because you can only have so much in your brain. You can only have so many skills. But as soon as you know others with different skills, with disparate ideas, it just blows up. It becomes an exponential equation for innovation, and it's fantastic. So these are the lovely people on screen that you see, and there's one missing, and I don't have her in the photo. I wish I did, but these are the lovely people inside of the makerspace with our station, that innovation station we call it. We decided that we wanted to bring it out, and so it's on wheels, and we put a cool technology on it, and we roll it out around campus, once a week. And we get people to know more about the makerspace. So sometimes we put a 3D printer on it, or sometimes we put the vinyl cutter, for example, and we just make something right there. So in the cafeteria, people can walk by and know more. But I work with these incredibly talented people, and honestly, it's amazing the things that we have been able to accomplish So I'm going to show you guys one of them as the sort of final. Really, it's that thing that I've been alluding to that you need to do is do the thing, but document the thing. Always, always, always document, because it's so, you don't think you need to in the moment. It's not till like 5 years later when you're asked to give a talk that you have to go figure it out. Or when you're asked to present your thing, or it's so important to document, because you're allowing others to then build on your idea. If you don't have a record of it, if you don't document how you're doing something, how do you expect your idea to grow and become more than it is just from you? And that is the point, I think, of everything in what we do as humans, is that we have gone from something and then built on it and built on it and built on it. And if you don't document your stuff, it will be lost and people will have to restart. And then we don't make the progress that we really could. So doing is amazing. Documenting is a must. It's required. So here's something that I actually did document. So this idea here, these are snowflakes. We're from Canada. And when I was a child in the 80s, everyone was told you're a beautiful, wonderful snowflake. Everyone is totally unique, because the concept of a snowflake is that there is no other snowflake that is exactly the same as another one, right? So I decided one day, my friend Davis, who is in the photo that I showed earlier, was talking about parametric design. And he basically said, in Fusion 360, I can make something and then I can change that value. And instead of actually being a finite, the line is 2 inches long, I can make it an equation, and then you can input any number you want and that can change. And I was like, oh, I had never really heard of that. As a cabinet maker, we kind of stick things to a plan. We don't usually have parametric design. So I went, oh, that's really cool. And it just floated away, and it was a nice idea. And then I needed to then one day, we had to teach 20 students who were visiting from, they were like maybe 12, and they were visiting from another school. And I needed to show them how they could 3D design something, but they told me I had 20 minutes. So I was like, okay, well, I'm never going to be able to show students how they can 3D model a thing in 20 minutes. So out of those two, the need for something and this idea that Davis had put in my head that just popped right back in and said, you can change the values and then their model will change. So I didn't need to teach them how to model, but I could teach them what modeling was and how the numbers could affect what the look was. And it was winter time, so we were like, okay, well, let's make snowflakes. Because Davis, I literally said, Davis, do you think you could do that? And he was like, I don't know, maybe. I think so. Do I understand what you're even saying? And I was like, I think you do. And then within 4 hours, I was like, Davis, go try. If you want to go try, that's awesome. And within 4 hours, the next day at night, he had come back and he had this piece of software that you could input new values, such as number of vertices, or main branch length, secondary branch length, the angle of each branch. And all of those things could be changed parametrically. And that was the beginning of the idea, where we had them just type it in. But then my other colleague saw this idea and was like, that's cool, but how do you get the numbers? Like, did they just think of them or what? And I was like, yeah, they just put them in when they want to. And he's like, well, yeah, but like, I don't know, it could be better than that, right? I was like, yeah, I mean, if you have an idea for that, that's awesome. And then he said, yeah, it could be. What if we took everyone's birthday and we made that birthday turn into a unique snowflake? And I was like, oh, that is super cool. I love this idea. So then he ran away for a few hours and he wrote code in JavaScript. So I did nothing for this. I came up with an idea and everyone else did the idea and brought more life to it, which is what I'm trying to prove to you all. So he wrote code, and what happens is now, I wish I could share it with you, guys, but it's in the makerspace and I can't personally get there to show you the code. But you type in on a little piece of program, you type in your birthday, and then it inputs a number of values that are always different. And there are 7 billion variations. So almost more than there is, as many as humans as there are on the planet, technically, are there unique variations of these snowflakes. And so now we do that every once in a while when we're inviting a new group. We say, hey, pick a date, any date. And some people don't choose their birthday. You can literally pick any date. It doesn't have to be your birthday. And then these are all variations from different people's dates. And some of them are very similar. You're very similar to other people sometimes. Some of them are incredibly different. Like and this is like my family. I made them all for Christmas. So this is one that's laser cut. And this is Cynthia. So Cynthia Peltier right here. This is her snowflake. It's her birthday and her lucky number, because the way you get it to be so random is that there's one number that changes every time, and that affects one thing. So then there's one variable that's never the same. So even if you put in, another person puts in Cynthia's exact birthday, it will still look different, ever so slightly. And then this one example, Jen Standard, it's a totally different date. I love the way this one looks. It's an extra long secondary branch with an increased angle and then more vertices, and they just look really, really interesting. And I'm excited to see what happens next. I want to build this idea further so it's an actual website. So you can just go visit, you can put in your date, and then we can just give you the file, and then you can laser cut it, or you can do whatever you want with it, right? But right now it's more of a manual process. We haven't figured out the whole thing along the way. So that's just something that we've made in the makerspace that I particularly think sparks that need to work with others and proves that an idea can grow and be better when you collaborate. And it's the sum of everyone, and it's just really a good way to work as a maker. Don't work in a vacuum, don't work by yourself. If you want to, that's cool too, but I really think there's some value there in discussion, in creative collisions and all of that. So thank you guys. I value any questions. I would be very, very happy to answer them at this time.
Thank you so much, Matthew. It was incredible. And thanks, Mireya, for being the official translator over the chat. Thank you so much. Highlighting the main idea. It was great. The perfect facilitator. Thank you for that. It was amazing. Thanks, Matthew, for sharing your story, your journey. We truly appreciate it. Well, I have many things to mention, but I want to open up to questions to the students, to the audience, the team from Coaniquem. Also, if you would like to ask something or comment something to Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew. That was amazing, so inspiring. And I think it's everything that you talked about. It's so true for everything we do. And at Coaniquem, we are always innovating and coming up with ideas. And I think what you mentioned about writing everything, documenting everything, is something that we really have to consider, because sometimes you start something and you develop it and then you get frustrated, or it doesn't work, or it wasn't the right time. And, there's so many things that could happen in the way, and we just discard it rather than keeping the file right there and then, picking it up with perhaps something else that we create. So I think that's great. Also, what you showed us about that image, with or program that you sing, and this blubber kind of changes, I think that would be great for our music therapy department. I'm just sending it out there. Okay. But it's kind of funny, because I have a little flower which I probably bought at a dollar store, that when you sing, the flower moves, right? So it reminded me of that. And for some of our kids that don't want to do anything at the beginning, because they're so traumatized, something like that, like technology, especially now that we are still doing sessions online, it's something that makes me think about. So thank you for that idea. That was great.
No problem.
Good point, Mireya. I do believe we should create Vicente Makerspace in Coaniquem, in Pudahuel, and something to be scaled on the other centers.
Yeah, that would be great. Yes, because for us, like, at least for the music therapy department, it has been quite a challenge to be able to do online sessions, because of the delay in the music, and then there's so many interactions that you can really do the same when you are there, right? And it's like you play an instrument, but then on the other side it comes later, or you cannot sing with the client at the same time. So and I'm not a technology person, so it's been quite a challenge, but since I love challenges, it's like we've been sort of making up a lot of things, like little signs and little videos that we send the kids. So anyways, I think this time could be difficult for everybody, but it's like I think you said, or somebody said, that it's a great opportunity for learning, for growing, and especially for meeting people and creating together. I think that's very important.
Absolutely. And I did like, so when you guys are talking, it still moves, right? So it's all the audio coming from all areas. And I really thought that was one of a favorite part of mine, is that anyone else who was speaking, who was interacting, would also be making it move. So we're both, even though it's maybe slightly delayed, we're both collaborating on that shape. It's the combination of all of our input. So I love that idea, and I would be happy to share the program, the software, to show you how you can change the colors to be your colors for your brand, for your anything like that. No problem at all. You can choose a different shape. We could probably even make it into a flower, and then the flower could move digitally with the actual flower.
Wow.
So
I believe we have the perfect match here with the music, Mathew, and the maker space. I'm happy about that. And well, Mathew, you talk a lot about collaboration, and it's what we are doing just from the very beginning, designing this hackathon. We are a team organizing this all together.
I wanted to say something.
And we have, I wanted to introduce Javi actually, because we are in our initiatives and here at the university. And Javi, she's one of the researchers, and she lives in the south of Chile, and she's a maker actually, and she's creating, actually they already have it there, a maker space.
Oh, wait.
And
Hi, how are you? I'm Javi. I live in Puerto Natales in Patagonia in Chile. Actually, what I wanted to say about all you were talking about is, for me, this COVID situation have brought me a new opportunity, and I want to share to everybody this. I came to live here in Patagonia about 2 years ago, where when I started, I was working at university with Vicente, with Pato, with everybody. I was a teacher there, but I started making my project here in Puerto Natales, that is a 3,000 km from Santiago. It's really remote, so it took me like 8 hours to get here every time I was coming. So I started doing classes remotely. Not really, this is kind of a secret because it wasn't that really like, nobody was agreed that I was actually doing classes online to my kids in Santiago when I was here. So when I left Santiago and I came here and started my own project in some point, I never felt left behind, but being inside the computer, the only one in the computer, like nobody really saw that it was possible to do whatever I wanted, wherever I wanted, if I have an internet connection. Yeah. These past 4 months, everybody, like I live in a super touristy place. So most of the people here is without job actually in this point. Oh. And for me have been all the contrary. Yeah. Because now I can participate in things like that. I can collaborate with whoever wants to talk to me. And I have like a mini maker space in my house actually nowadays. Here I have 2 3D printers, and I try to work in scientific and design projects. And I think too is like opening, like as you tell your story that you have this job that you didn't like. I never had a job that I didn't like, but I didn't like where I was living. Here now, look, I live here. This is the view of my office.
That's beautiful.
Those are the fjords. Today you cannot see the glaciers in the back. But actually, for me, it's not depend where you are, is what do you want to do. So don't think that if you don't have like for the kids, like for everybody, like if you, no, I live super far away, where here we don't have not even big supermarkets. Like, it's super
Yeah.
remote, and in the same situation, if you are stuck in a house, nowadays it's kind of the same. In Santiago, you get delivery. Here, there's nothing. But here now we are all like kind of open. The thing is that I like what you said, and I want everybody like to feel that they can do it. It doesn't matter where you are, who you are, what you are thinking. It depends on how much energy and how much do you want things to go on, more than actually, like, I'm here in Puerto Natales. When I decide to quit my job in Santiago and came here, like, everybody was like, okay, you're really, really, really sure what you're doing? And I'm like, yeah, this is the moment, and I'm here. Everything has been actually quite good. I think with COVID, now it's better because people trust that I'm far away. So that's my point. And you're in Canada. We are like 30,000 Ks apart. And we still can talk about something, and lots of people is watching and everything. I don't know.
That's the idea, that I don't think I would be speaking to this group or would have had the opportunity. And honestly, the way I got here was through meeting Vicente, because we had the first virtual maker fair. Like, the maker fair happened and I went to his live stream and watched the presentation that he made. And through that, I met him, and then we've been talking ever since. So you should not, we're all sort of brought into our own little bubbles, but we can all speak to each other a little bit, and our reach is greater, even though we aren't actually physically going anywhere. We can, because it's acceptable now that I'm just on a video screen, because we're all on a video screen. Whereas it would be weird if I was presenting.
That's my point.
And everyone was sitting in the room, So it's beautiful, and I'm very, very glad that some of the things you said were, yes, don't think you can't. I mean, there is a way for sure. Almost anything that you want to do, you can figure out how to do it. And
I'm gonna build my maker space here. I don't know how I end up managing this space.
I am
over there is my co-work. My people is over there working now. It's closed because we finished the closed part because it's super cold here.
Yeah.
Now it's better. It's like 4 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
And but we never opened because it was done when COVID started, but we're trying to put something together. So yeah.
Well, I'm working remotely.
My favorite part.
I know, despite the context, we found many opportunities, as this hackathon for us with Coaniquem was an opportunity as well, and getting this connection.
Get a climbing wall in one of the offices.
And
That's awesome. Your makerspace is far larger than mine. It's huge compared to mine. Mine is 1,000 square feet.
No, mine is gonna be that part, like on top, because this building is too old. It's like 100. This year is gonna be 100 years. So to isolate the whole thing and start making it warmer is too expensive for us. So we have to make these small spaces where we can keep the warm inside.
That's a good way. That's a good solution for now, right? Make modular rooms that you can keep to the temperature you want for the moment.
You have that one and that one. Yeah.
It's great, Javi.
Nice to meet you.
She knows how to work, how to collaborate. She's all the time collaborating. And it's great as well documenting, writing down all the projects. Yeah, she's great, actually. And Matthew, we have another student, Catalina. She's also in the south of the country, in Concepcion. And she wanted to ask you something. She loved your presentation, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you.
Hi, my name is Catalina, and I wanted to ask you about collaboration, because you talked about collaboration is key, but how to overcome this defensiveness and also the lack of trust we have in others. Like, how do you work with that? Because even between friends, it's hard to collaborate and like work in projects. So that's my question.
Understood. Yeah. So for me, the way that it's a hard question for me to answer, because I am way too trusting of an individual. If you ask my friends whether I just you have to prove distrust for me as opposed to prove trust, which is maybe not always the best way to go about things, but I found it works pretty well for me. But if you're the opposite and you need to, you want to build trust with those people, so you start small. You start with something that it doesn't have to, you don't have to share your big idea yet. I know sometimes that there's some reservations about, oh, I'm going to share my really big idea that I want with the world, right? Like, should I tell them? Are they gonna help me with it, or are they gonna, put me down about it? Are they gonna, what's gonna happen? I mean, it's like me when I'm playing a song for someone. It's my inside, what I feel, and when I express it, it makes me nervous. And so maybe part of that is you have to, and I mean, it sounds tough, but you have to get over that, because you just got to go for it sometimes, and you can't let that feeling of it not work. Is it going to work, or is it not going to work, or what's their response going to be? If you know you want to collaborate, then try to do that. But I want to ask you, is that sort of the right thing, or are you speaking more of right now in this specific time, how we can't be close to?
No, kind of like in general, because it sometimes also it's like this sense of like, will they steal my idea? Because sometimes they do that, and it has happened. So it's kind of like difficult to like open yourself and like share this dream or your idea, and sometimes people just take it and go like they are like, oh yeah, we can collaborate, and then you see them doing exactly the same thing without you. So
yeah, so that is something that I would say, again, that would be a start small scenario. If you need help with something, you can't walk around with a non-disclosure agreement strapped to your chest. It's like impossible, because these non-disclosure agreement, that's when someone says, sign this, or I'm not going to tell you my idea, right? Companies do that. You don't go into a meeting with a large company without having one of these non-disclosure agreements. But between friends, you have to have some of that trust. I would say, if as a useful tool, if you're actually nervous about it, then I would say to not give it all away, and have faith that if you had that idea, you can execute it in a different or a better way, probably, than the people who are going to steal your idea or are going to take your idea, because they don't really know your idea, because you haven't really, again, like you can only share it to a certain point. Some of it is still in you, and you need to express it. And so even if they start to do your idea, it might change into not your idea. And you might see that they're not doing what you actually wanted. They're doing what they wanted out of your idea. So think of it as you're inspiring others when they steal your idea, and not that, and that you can still do stuff with your idea, and you can make it different. Because if you had the idea in the first place, that's where the strength lies. Your execution is unique because you're you. And so, I don't consider it necessarily like, this is what I struggled with, just to give you some context. A lot was, I only wanted to do something if no one else had ever done it before. Like, this is crazy. What are you? And the internet exists. Like, maybe when the internet didn't exist, I could do something if no one else had done it before. But I would constantly go, oh, I have a great idea. I'd write it in my notebook. I'd go to Google. I'd type it up. Oh, one guy, one time, he did that thing. Forget it. I'm not even going to start. And that is, if we look at even the corporate world and we say, okay, Coke and Pepsi exist. Did Pepsi say, oh, well, Coke already made Coke, so I'm not going to make Pepsi? No, they both are super successful billion-dollar companies out of this idea that is exactly the same. Well, don't let them hear me say that, but it's exactly the same. It's just a fizzy drink that's, a slightly different brown color. So just consider that when you're approaching your idea, that number one, if someone else does your idea, you can do it differently, and you probably will anyway. So it's not like you even have to try to. And number two, just because someone else is doing it doesn't mean you still shouldn't.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. It was a pleasure. Thank you for your question. It was awesome.
And thank you, Kata. Well, she's a super empowered student, I can tell. She's in second year or third year of journalism. And she's super
second. Yeah.
Take it as a compliment too. If they steal your idea, it was a good one. It was worth doing,
And she's working with community and social projects, also engaging other students. So it's great to have her here as well. So Mathew, thank you so much. Trini, do you want to ask?
A last question. A little one, a really small one.
I'll answer it very short.
Yeah, it's also to make you, I don't know, bigger. I don't know, because I want to know your Instagram or your social media. So
Okay.
because you're really inspiring, and I also like videography, photography. So I think maybe you can have some of these, and I think it's cool to let the people know.
Sure. I honestly, I have a personal Instagram. That's about it. I barely talk about myself. I usually just talk about my makerspace. So this is like a first for me. So I don't have a personal brand, let's say.
Or
but
the makerspace, maybe of the makers.
But
we can tag him on our Instagram post as well.
I put at JMat,
about that, like
JMat5 in the chat. So one of my favorite movies you may never have heard about, it's called Johnny 5. And it's about a robot who gets feelings, and it's a really good movie. It's a fun movie. It's not a serious movie. And so JMat5 is Johnny 5 with my name in the middle.
It would have been hard to find you on Instagram without that explanation.
You never would have found me. So there it is. It's in there in the chat, and I haven't posted, but you know what? It'll inspire me to post in a while. A lot of my little chunks of songs are on there, and some photos that I take on my cell phone and things like that. So check it out.
We want to follow your songs as well, your music. It's amazing, your music. And Mathew, I have the team actually has a proposal for you, an invitation. Let us know, of course, if that is possible. At 5:30 p.m. Chilean time. What time is it now in
the same
place?
time? It's 12.
The same. It's the same.
So at the same time, at 5:30, we will start with the ceremony of announcing the winners. I don't know if you can be a little bit earlier, just to give us as a gift one of your songs before or after for the closure of the event. That will be possible for you? Yeah.
At 5 o'clock.
I can come at 5 o'clock. I can come, and no problem. I will do it. I will.
That would be amazing, Mathew. Okay, well,
no problem.
That would be a perfect ending of the event. So thank you so much for that. Truly appreciate it.
Mathew, your point of view is very interesting. And thank you very much for everything that you have shared with us today. And see you in the evening.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in the evening. And thank you. I just want to say thank you to everyone here, but also thank you to Vicente for inviting me. It was really awesome. Thank you so much, man. So I look forward to.
Vicente was key on the entire organization of this hackathon. So yeah.
Working really hard.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure to hear you. It was a pleasure. Thank you. And well, we have to move to the next session, and then I will switch to Spanish by Mathew. Oh, you're gonna stay if you want, of course.
I'm gonna stay for a little bit, but I have I have a new baby, so I have to go check on him with my wife and come back. Okay.
Congrats.
Okay.
Bye, Mathew. Thank you. Bueno, qué lindo conocerlo a Mathew, qué lindo su historia y todo sus enseñanzas. La verdad que yo creo que fue para todos súper inspirador. Todos nos llenamos de energía